think in many ways, the basis of what we call evil is the symptom of disconnection.
Beautiful. Beautifully said.
Look, for me to do an act, we'll call it evil. Evil means to live against life, right? Live, backwards is evil. So living backwards is evil. So to disrespect morality, which is a code of conduct that is life affirmative, to steal from people, to harm people, to turn them into objects, genocide, whatever it is, racial war, all that comes from disconnection. Because once you disconnect from your core self, then Tim's somebody else. Someone with a different colored skin, they're something else.
Yes. Yes.
And it's interesting, too. I had a podcast with a friend of mine, Dr. Keith Witt, who's a very, very incredible psychologist. He's one of Ken Wilber's kind of genius minds. One of the things he brought up in our conversation about this, he says, well, Paul, you might not realize this, but many native tribes did not have a word to describe somebody that wasn't in their tribe. So the way that they were able to go to war and kill these people was because they didn't have a name for them, so they became an object. They weren't another Sioux or another Cherokee or another Apache. They were something else.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's part of what's happened is we've gotten so into labeling everything and boxing it that we now see almost anything that falls outside of our belief system as an object or something else that needs to be gotten rid of. And so the point that I'm making is this issue you've brought up with disconnection. I really believe if we all realized our connection to each other and that we're all part of the same unique expression of life itself, and that we're all here to do something unique to contribute to the puzzle, to contribute to the grand picture, then we wouldn't see them as objects to be exterminated. We'd say, okay, well, what is it that they're here to do that somehow is part of what I'm here to do? I personally feel that the biggest illness we have, because the outcome of it is evil, is this whole issue of disconnection, which is why I think getting kids to guys like you to teach them how to experience the reality of themselves as part of nature is the beginning of morality. It's really the beginning of moral training.
Totally. I hold that developmentally for us as human beings, that establishing a conscious connection to the earth, right? Which, and I know in the mainstream world, there's so little connection to nature that it sounds like this weird thing out of left field. But let's just contextualize it. All I'm talking about is a human being connecting with their habitat.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a human being connecting with the planet on which they live.
Yes.
I know that's a far out thing these days, but
sadly,
we have millions of years of evolution where we lived close to the earth, and it's only in the last hundreds, maybe 1,000 years
since the Industrial Revolution.
Industrial Revolution, exactly, that we've lived apart from it.
Yeah.
So I'm holding that a connection to the earth, a conscious connection to the earth through the five senses is a developmental necessity for us as human beings.
Yeah.
And that when that's not in place, we will continue to have some sort of dis-ease and disconnection that we will attempt to fill in a variety of ways, whether that's very degenerative, like drugs, alcohol, overuse of sex, and all kinds of stuff. Or we also get the scenario where people, are stuck in a therapist's office or in a men's circle or in an ayahuasca ceremony, thinking that they're finding something that where they're searching for something that's actually not there.
Yeah.
And we've seen that. I've seen that so many times. So people describe it to me like this. Adults describe it like this. They'll say, after this is a post-reflection, right? They'll say that I get pretty frequently. They'll say, I feel like there was a veil of disconnection between me and the earth that I was not aware of previously, that lifted in my time with you.
Yeah.
And I now feel myself not as a stranger to the earth. I feel myself as part of this earth. Mm-hmm. I am a human being. My body has evolved here. We didn't come from Mars or out of space. And even if we did, that would be nature too.
Well,
But
human comes from humus,
humus, the earth,
of the
the
earth.
substrate of the earth. Exactly.
And
I use that point all the time.
In
actually.
Arabic,
Took the words out of my mouth.
well, in Arabic, it means of red earth,
Yes.
interestingly
yes.
enough.
Of the red earth.
And most people, I have not met a single Christian that can tell me the meaning of the name Adam or Eve. Adam is Adamus, which comes from the root word soil,
Back to soil.
back to humus.
Yeah.
And Eve in Greek means life force.